Can you please look up this site?
See if we can figure out something.
Good morning, Vicky. From South Africa. I met a guy in Bocas del Toro from South Africa. In fact, I met several people from South Africa. Very interesting discussion about life there. His father was a doctor. This is another young woman. I've known this girl since she was a little girl, like 9 years old. Good morning, Miss Hutchison. Can you hear me? This is Judge Middleton. I'm here at the court. Also with me is Mr. Keith Stickley, the Chief Public Defender. Your lawyer, Lori Hines, is not available, and so we need to address this case. You were originally charged with possession of methamphetamine and other drug charge. You pled guilty to no valid operator's license and use of methamphetamine. And that was back in November of 2022. The matter was set for sentencing. We got through the holidays. I set it for sentencing for January 3rd of 2023. You called and said you were sick and you didn't want to come. And we said, you have to be here. We're going to issue a bench warrant for your arrest. We'll give you 48 hours. And then you never came. We waited 7 days and we issued a bench warrant. We also then talked to you, called on the 10th of January, and we said, hey, there's a bench warrant for you. You never came. We filed a motion to cancel your bond with your bonding company, Quick Bail Bonds. And then we heard from you in September of 23, and then not anymore. How did you come to get arrested?
My mother-in-law was trying to go see my husband's court date.
Where were you arrested?
On the side of the road, headed towards Centerville.
And you were going to Denzel's hearing?
I was dropping my mother-in-law off at his court date. All I do is sit and take care of my kids. I don't do anything. I don't get in trouble. My kids need me because my mother-in-law is a truck driver. And my husband's in jail and his brothers work and there's nobody to take care of my kids like that. And my kids are in school and they need me.
They need you clean and sober too.
Yeah.
Where are you living?
I'm staying in Constantine right now. At a friend's house. We live in a house with other kids. I take care of other kids.
Well, all right, well, we'll get that information. Where do your kids go to school?
Free Rivers.
Do they get to school?
Yes, they get to school. I take them to school.
All right, well, you've been under the radar for about a year now. You know that there was a warrant out for your arrest. And you've just been trying to stay out of the bullseye. Denzel did have a hearing yesterday, and I would like to get him into my sobriety court treatment program. And I discussed that with Judge Stutzman Wednesday, I think. Anyway, they finally caught up with you. So the bad news is you're in jail. The good news is we're going to take care of this. I misspoke. I said your attorney was Lori Hines. Your attorney is Tim George. So your bond is canceled. I'm surprised that Quick Bail Bonds didn't look for you. They were on the hook for a $5,000 cash or surety bond Had you heard anything from your bonding company?
No, sir.
They don't even look anymore. In the old days, when I don't think they make any effort to recover anybody. They just hope they get picked up within a year and then they get their money back. Once upon a time, bonding companies would go out and look for people that failed to appear on a court hearing. You weren't very hard to find. You were right here in St. Joe County. You were just trying to stay under my radar. Now, they woke you up to come in here. Let me just say, I think we're still struggling. I'm gonna see Mr. George here in a bit. I'm gonna cancel your bond and set this for sentence for next Wednesday. Mr. George should be here that day. That would be September. Hell, I'm supposed to have a jury trial that day.
Judge Middleton,
Yes?
my kids need me. And it's not just about my kids. I understand that I didn't come to court and all that, but my kids need me. I need to take them to school and stuff.
Yes.
You know me a
I'm
long
not,
time.
I'm aware of that. My suspicion, if I gave you a drug test right now, would test positive for methamphetamine. And I'm not gonna go into the history that you had when you were a kid and all the struggles we had and how you didn't get taken to school and the things that happened to you. I don't want that to revisit on your kids. So I need to figure out what I'm dealing with here. And so you're gonna sit. You've been AWOL for almost a year. You had several phone conversations. We told you you needed to come in here. Your lawyer was there. You could have given him a call and just walked in the front door. Instead, you waited to get picked up on the bench warrant. And I don't want to just let you back out to keep getting high and try to drag yourself through life. We need a better plan than that. So I'm going to set this for sentencing for Wednesday, September 4th at 9 a.m. And I will see Mr. George here in a bit. So yes, your kids do need you, but they need you in a better place than you are right now. I'll see you on Wednesday. All right. Two real difficult cases from women struggling with addiction and substance abuse disorder. And it visits on their children because it got visited on them. So,
all right.
We're gonna give Mr. George all the good news here at lunchtime. And that completes our morning. Thank you, Mr. Stickley.
Sure. We'll see you in the links.
Well, I won't get that far, but I'll see you at lunch.
All right.
Okay, thank you everyone for sitting through this kind of herky-jerky morning with a sad ending. We'll address both of those matters next week. We are back. I'd hoped to do this matter at 9. We did do a sobriety court private session at 9. Mr. George was here at the courthouse, but he got summoned to the family court. So we waited till they were done there. As you saw earlier, we had a jury trial scheduled that resulted in a misdemeanor plea, and that is our day. This is People versus Amanda Catherine Hutchinson. She was arraigned last week and Mr. George was not available, so I set the matter for sentencing this morning when I thought she would be maybe in better shape and Mr. George would be available. So, good morning to everyone from Peoria to Bridges of Madison County. But I'm gonna shut this off, thank you. It is another beautiful day here in Southwest Michigan. This is file 221037FY, People versus Amanda Catherine Hutchinson. That's you?
Yes, sir.
And we've met. I saw you last week by Zoom. I believe it was Friday morning. as I mentioned, your lawyer was unavailable at that time. I had Mr. Stickley, the chief public defender, with us. And Mr. George is normally scheduled to be here on Wednesdays because of pretrials. So I told him later that morning, when I saw him at lunchtime, that you had been arraigned and your matter had been set for today. You've been off the grid for a while. You were charged originally with possession of methamphetamine, maybe some traffic stuff. You had the matter reduced to a use of methamphetamine, and the matter was set for scheduling. You also had a traffic case, a no ops. Most of your baggage has to do with not having a license. At any rate, we set the matter for sentencing, and you called and said you were sick and you couldn't be here. And I said that wasn't sufficient. You needed to be here. And we did a 48-hour hold, and then you just never came back. I think you may have called a time or two. So the bench warrant was out for your arrest from January the 9th. You actually emailed your lawyer. I said, you don't email your lawyer the morning of the hearing and say you're sick. So we did a 48-hour hold on January 9th of 2023. And the bench warrant's been out ever since. You had your bond posted by Quick Bail Bonds, and we did attempt to forfeit your bond. Apparently they made zero effort or very little effort to find you. I mentioned this when we were here before. The bonding companies would go out and get the people and bring them back in. I think that's a thing of the past. We did that notice of bond forfeiture on March 7th. So they have a year to redeem it. And I don't know whether that bond was forfeited or not. At any rate, you got picked up, and I wasn't completely clear. I want to maybe get some more information. You had brought your mother-in-law over to see Denzel's case.
Yes, sir.
And that would be Denzel Smith. And as I told your lawyer, I'm well familiar with Mr. Smith. I think I'm about to bring him into our sobriety court treatment program. I discussed the matter with Judge Stutzman and said that we would accept him into the program and he could use it. So then how did you get stopped by the police?
Supposedly I had a brake light out.
All right, and you keep driving. They didn't give you a traffic ticket? You still don't
My
have?
mother-in-law, I switched spots with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law really wanted to go to his case and there was nobody else to take her, so I told her I'd take her.
Yeah, and you got 10, 15 years worth of no ops stuff, but you didn't get a traffic ticket, so that's something. And then they found this warrant for you. All right. And they let your mother-in-law then drive the car away? You have to speak your
Yes.
answer.
Yes, I did.
And that was last Thursday. That would have been last Thursday, August 29th. I was also unclear of where you're actually living. There was a Garden Street address. And I think there was an eviction from there. And I wasn't clear. You said something about Constantine and
Your Honor, she did provide that new address to me.
all right, where is it?
It's in Constantine. On
What
2nd
street? What street's it on?
255 West 2nd Street.
All right, who lives there?
My boyfriend,
What's his name?
Zach Gardner.
So you and Mr. Smith are no longer together?
We haven't been together in a long time.
Are you divorced?
No,
Where are your kids?
it's in school right now.
I mean, where do they stay?
They live with me,
Uh,
but right this second they're with my mother-in-law.
so they're with Denzel's mother in Three Rivers?
Yeah, yes.
All right. how are you getting them from Constantine to Three Rivers for school?
Driving.
Yeah, and you can't drive and you don't give a rip. You just keep doing it. There must be 12 entries in here for one sort of driving suspended or no ops or something.
Am I allowed to get my license?
I don't know.
Because if so, I'll go do that. When I'm able to.
Well, I don't think you just walk in and get it. I mean, look, this file doesn't have a driving record in it. I think I can probably get one. But anyway, you were driving to court, you know, you just don't. I was looking, you really, all you've got as a criminal history is traffic matters and drug matters. You don't steal anything, you don't assault anybody. There's nothing but all these driving cases and then your struggles with drugs. And mostly you're just hurting yourself. 2017, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. 2000, you got it back for a minute. You got a restriction, 2021. 2022, contemporaneous with this, November 3rd. So that was, let me see what I can see about that one. The answer is probably not easily. This was a complicated plea offer. And let me go back to that. Because what I'm trying to do is try to find a file with a driving record in it. You pled to no ops, and there were actually some 2021 cases, and no valid license, and use of methamphetamine. And let me look at these. Here's a driving record, not valid. At that time, you had an address of Harvey Street, Jones. I don't know, Amanda. You don't have, I don't think you have any drinking and driving. You just have a bunch of tickets. So when you get out, you can go to the Secretary of State. This driving record is from 2021, so there's some other convictions that entered after that. But hey, you just keep on driving and you manage to stay under the radar. What grades are your kids in?
7th and 6th. Once I take care of another child too. Then what, second? Second.
What do you do for income?
I clean people's houses.
And where is that?
It's just when a few people of mine, a few friends of mine ask me to clean their houses.
I don't know what to know. When we talked on Friday, I felt that you were at that time under the use of methamphetamine, and I wanted a little time for you to get your head on straighter, and it seems to be the case this morning. You look tired, but I think you're clear-headed. Mr. George, what would you like me to know?
Well, I know that the court kind of detailed how we got here, and I think a lot of the court's frustration is kind of the post plea behavior. I know that we have some other concerns going on, but I'm not aware that she has any new charges, any new convictions or anything since the last time we were in court. Here, if we go back to this case, this is from November of 2022. It's a true use paraphernalia type case. On the complaint, it was just a single possession of meth. There wasn't any type of drug double. Obviously, I don't have the benefit of the criminal history, but I'm not aware that there's any other type of drug conviction on there. So, based on the facts of the case, we would ask the court to consider a sentence of time served and fine to costs.
All right, Ms. Hutchinson, what would you like me to know?
I need to get back to my kids that I don't plan on touching nothing, that I'm gonna be going to NA meetings every week, and I won't drive anymore until I get my license. I'll figure out something for my kids.
Mr. Garden doesn't have a license either. I was looking, he got a drinking driving with a bunch of little kids in the car, but I don't think any of them were yours. That was back in 2022. Were you dating him at that time?
No, sir.
Um,
Doesn't drink anymore either, so.
well, that's a plus. Anyway, your lawyer alluded to this. Your post-conviction behavior was bad. You emailed and said, hey, I'm sick the morning of the hearing, and that you'd done that sort of thing before. And I said, no, she has to be here. Then you just never showed up again. So you had to have been looking over your shoulder for the last year and a half.
I'm tired. I'm tired of doing that. I wanna do that. I wanna be able to be with my kids and go to their stuff and practices and be able to get a job and support my own, and
But you haven't done any of that.
I can't because I was too busy looking over my shoulder.
Yeah, I suppose, but you didn't do any treatment. You're still got meth linking in the background. You don't have a license. The guy you live with doesn't have a license. Your husband's in jail for drinking and driving. I'm gonna try to get a handle on him. Do you have any contact with your mother?
Yeah.
Where is she?
She lives in Three Rivers in her own little apartment.
Well, that's good. I haven't seen her in a long time, and that's
She has
probably good.
leukemia.
I'm sorry to hear that. And you had a rough go of it when you were a kid, and now you're visiting the same thing on your kids. They're staying here, they're staying there, you're staying with somebody, they're in Three
Okay.
Rivers, they're at their grandma's, their dad's in jail, the guy you live with's got his struggles, and here you are in jail. You could have made this a whole lot easier by just calling your lawyer and coming in here.
No, sir.
And I don't have a sense of how much, you're not just gonna fix this now that this warrant is done and say, well, I'm gonna go to NA, I'm gonna get a job and everything's gonna be happily ever after. I wish it was. I
I'm
wish it
going
was
to,
that.
sir. That's the thing. I'm gonna put my mind to it and do the right things that I'm supposed to do.
Well, I would hope for that. I think the next time I'm gonna see you is on a driving charge, because I think you're just gonna keep on driving. You gotta get your kids here, you gotta get your kids there. You're taking your mother-in-law somewhere, you can't drive. And when you get out, you can go to the Secretary of State and find out what you need to do, but I don't think it's gonna be that easy. Whose car were you driving?
Mine?
Did they impound it?
No.
Well, you're lucky there. Some of the things you had was no insurance. And if you don't have a license, you can't always get your car registered or insured. Where does Denzel's mother live?
Trailer park. She lives in a camper, actually.
Oh, so that's not a great situation either. I was hoping what's her name?
Nyoka.
Yes. You have 6 days credit. I think you had 2 days before that. You need more intensive services than maybe I've got available. And I don't know what the right number is. One option is just give you 90 days in jail and make you sit for 90 days and get more clean. I don't know where you get the money to buy methamphetamine. All that's money away from your kids and your family, and it's a terrible addiction that you're struggling with. And I believe you right now that you want to do the right thing, but it's not as easy as it sounds. But as Mr. George pointed out, this was just a relatively minor case back at the original. You had multiple traffic cases pending at the same time that got dismissed. I am disappointed that your bonding company didn't make any effort to pick you up. That we would have been done with this a long time ago. At that time, it was the Garden Street address, and that didn't end well. You got evicted from there. Trying to find the original. 6 days plus 2 days. I'm gonna give you 12 days jail credit, 8. 4 days to serve. You'll probably be out in about 2 days. A lot of it is just for your conduct after the fact. Anything that I fine you is money away from your kids. Fine is 0. There's a $75 crime victims' rights fee and a $50 state minimum fee. Although interestingly enough, you were able to come up with a $1,250 surety bond, $5,000. So when it came time to getting out of jail, you were able to pay that. That money is kept by the bonding company. I would love to forfeit their $5,000, but I think the time for forfeiture, I think they have time to redeem it. And waive your attorney fee too. $125 due by October 4th. If it weren't for your kids, I would have you in a place like Hope House or something. At some point, I'm concerned that your kids might end up in the same situation you were. Has Protective Services been involved in this at all? What does Mr. Gardner do? Does he work someplace?
He works every day.
Very good. Where's that? Good. So you got a house, a standalone house. He's got some kids. You say he's clean. Maybe you guys can help each other. Anyway, that's it. I'll give you the envelope. You're gonna do a few more days to get a few more detox hours.
And Judge,
Yes.
is it the same on both counts? Was there a no valid ops count?
I already did the no ballot
Okay,
ops. You got
perfect.
2 days back in the day, I believe is what I did. I don't know. I have a hollow feeling about this. But just leaving you in jail indefinitely. Your kids are not under a good circumstance. All right. Both of my cases this morning, I left unsatisfied, but there is no good answer to this. We have to go.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Gardner, are you still on probation? Okay, so you got somebody keeping track of you. All right, well, good luck to all of you. I hope you guys can come out of this. You're good to go. All right, that finishes our day. Unless something else comes up.